I've got spare parts from my last broken heart. Somehow more than what I had to start. Yeah, I've got spare parts. I tried to fix it best I remembered it. I hope it runs when I fire it up, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be a perfect fit, 'cause I got spare parts. Took a piece of you, like lovers often do. But I'll try to make it good as new, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare parts. What's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare.
Good evening, folks. Thanks for joining us tonight here on i12 GIA Real Talk with Real People. I'm your host, Fogman. We'll be here with Rennie and Nomad. I want to thank all of our sponsors, which are Peace of Mind Training and i12 GIA. Before we get started here, the opinions are our own. They in no way reflect the opinions of our sponsors or the network, the FFN network. Now, tonight's going to be kind of a serious subject. We're going to be discussing. Last week. I came across Project 2025 and Agenda 47, which is President Trump's and the conservatives' plan for America in the future. I thought it was kind of interesting, so I pitched it, and we decided to go with that tonight. Boy, was I surprised. I spent the day, because I want to be fair and balanced and get both sides of a story before I give any of this information out. You know, credibility and integrity is important to us. We try to tell you the truth as much as possible. So anyway, as a result of that, I went pretty deep down some liberal rabbit holes with videos and blogs and podcasts and a bunch of other nonsense. If anybody has a recommendation for giving my brain an enema, would you please email it to me, or you can send it to the network, or if you want to give us a call, we would love to hear it, because my brain is so full of liberal bullshit right now that I have no idea what to do with it. And I'm really concerned. I'm seriously concerned for our nation after some of the shit that I saw today. So to evidence that, we are going to begin with some comments of Congressman Ted Lieu, who, by the way, also has reinstated the Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein debunked files again. So we're going to run that video, and then we will get everybody involved and start talking. So if we can do that now, we will get going.
And did nothing. Joining our conversation, one of the Democratic House members who has launched a task force to counter Trump's Project 2025, Congressman Ted Lieu of California. The congressman is also a member of the House Judiciary Committee, where a lot of the Republican shenanigans get beta tested. Congressman, thank you for being here. It feels like Project 2025 has been out there for a long time. Trump making no secrets of his plans to turn our democracy into an autocracy. There's a website for that now. It seems like peak Trump 2024. Tell me about the response and the sort of interest and the energy in combating it, or at least being prepared for it.
Thank you, Nicole, for that question. Let me first say a Navigator poll release today shows that Joe Biden is going to win re-election and Democrats will flip the House. And that's because we're running on the values of freedom, democracy, and optimism. This Project 2025 manifesto by Trump loyalists and extreme Republicans is based on darkness. It's going to essentially gut the Department of Education. It's going to ban the FDA-approved abortion pill from the market and fire civil servants and replace them with Trump loyalists, dramatically expanding the powers of the presidency. It's going to turn America into what's going to look more like a fascist state. And we're trying to expose these ideas to the American public so that these ideas will never become law or see the light of day.
Congressman, I'm so glad you started with the polls. I detect in Democrats a feeling that the political season, which as a former political person, I love the political season. It means we all have to zip it and the voters get to weigh in. It is truly the most sort of democratic part of a 4-year cycle. And I feel like the conventional wisdom is there is no silver bullet. Yes, there is. What's in 2025, if the independent and swing voters and the sort of winning coalition that President Biden assembled knows what's in there, it is a political silver bullet. Nobody likes it. How do you make sure voters know everything that's in here?
Yeah. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and we want to expose these crazy ideas and the darkness behind them to all the people in America. If they read this 1,000-page sort of document, they're going to be stunned and shocked at what Trump and extreme Republicans are trying to do. And we already have precedents for this. If you just look at the Republican House, they have introduced one crazy bill after another. And a reminder, Roe v. Wade was overturned by Trump-installed extreme Supreme Court justices. Republicans have bills to have a national abortion ban. There is precedence for taking away reproductive freedom because that's what Republicans are trying to do every day.
Well, a 1,000-page document. People didn't read the Mueller report, and it was a blueprint for prosecuting Donald Trump eventually. What do you do to make sure that what is on those 1,000 pages, the things that keep you and I up at night, is something that is in front of voters before they decide in November?
Yeah, so one of the best ways to make sure no one reads anything is to have a 1,000-page document. And I do want to commend Congressman Jared Huffman for his great idea in starting this Stop Project 2025 task force that's going to basically put out most of the craziest ideas that we can from this 1,000-page document and expose it to American people so that people really understand what's at stake this coming November. It's not merely a policy difference. It's really, what do you want America to look like? Do you want a democracy, or do you want what looks like a fascist state?
Congressman Ted Lieu, thank you for joining us. I hope you'll continue to be part of these conversations. Your work is vital.
Everything those people said is an outright lion, what is it, dog-faced lion, pony soldier, according to Joe Biden, lie thing. Yeah. There was not a kernel of truth in any of that. The 1,000-page document thing really got my. Actually, it's 940 some pages, and in the Affordable Care Act, they were bitching about 1,000 pages in this. In the Affordable Care Act, there were 11,000 rules and regulations and pages.
You got to pass it. You got to pass it before you can read it.
Exactly. So that's going to be what this is going to start. That's the mindset that we're dealing with right now with these people. Ready?
Yeah, so once we decided to go with this for the theme for the show tonight, I started doing a lot of research. And when you're doing research, I'm also listening to several different TV channels. And the Democrats, their panties are all up in a bunch over this. Saw it on TV twice today. They're afraid of it. Now, first of all, Jack Lew lied through his teeth. They're so sure that Biden's going to win. When I say the steal is in, the steal is on. Okay. 2 years ago in 2022, the Wisconsin Supreme Court banned standalone boxes just for mail-in ballots. And just about a week and a half ago, they overturned that. Jeff Kuhn, a local radio station host in Boston today, was talking. Ballot boxes are going up. They're going to be stuffing them. Now, an example of Jack Lew lying through his teeth, okay? And I'll give it to you right now. The U.S. Constitution. Power is not specifically relegated to the federal government or reserved for the states. It's the states' rights. So the Supreme Court never really overturned Roe versus Wade. All they did was they returned the abortion rights to the states where it belonged. It doesn't belong in the federal government.
No, most definitely. Nomad?
Well, a number of things in a short span. One, it's a replay of what they've previously done. They have a certain demographic which primarily is not interested in anything. They're already low information in the sense of that you got to spoon feed them everything. So just believe and repeat sound bites. Same playbook, number one. Number two, the mistake the Democrats are making is that the country has changed radically, even within their own factions. Democratic Party is no longer the one that it was 40, 50 years ago, let alone 5 years ago. And then lastly, you've got a situation where when you've only got two parties in a country, you really don't have much choice for discussion, for real and open, fair debate. Politics in this country is a business. It's not about serving the people. It's about serving your own needs. How many politicians have begun and end up as millionaires? Bernie is an example of it, a guy who's an outright socialist and communist in every way. He's a multimillionaire, but yet he represents the ordinary people. So this thing is what got the Democrats going this time is that funding that funds the machine is now at risk. When you hit them in the pocket, you've got their attention. And that's the first story and the first step to us changing how politics is conducted in this country. The debate about Biden's age should raise discussions about term limits, about full disclosure, about interests. Every politician on both sides of the aisle, but particularly the Democrats, have vested interests, particularly in either, stuff that's contrary to their own party's principles. Trump is not of them. So he is dangerous in different ways, and they've never dealt with someone like him. This is what the scary thing is. What will these guys do?
Exactly. The next video that we're going to run for you will kind of help to explain President Trump's Agenda 47. And it's probably going to be one of the best campaign videos that he could possibly use. And I don't think that's what their intention is. So let's see what this young lady, this influencer, has to say about all this.
Let's end lefties with a woke influencer who is seeking to scare the American people silly with what a second Trump term will look like. Here she details the sort of terrible policies Trump will implement if he's back in the White House.
First, he promises that he will carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in history. He will also ask for the death sentence for anyone convicted of human trafficking. He will close the Department of Education and return all education standards to the states to decide. He will put prayer back into school, and he will criminalize any race-based advantage programs.
So good so far. Is she trying to scare the public or make a pro-Trump campaign ad? It's hard to tell.
He will ban any federal dollars from going towards gender-affirming care, which means anyone with government-provided health care will no longer be able to access gender-affirming care except for Viagra and Cialis. Those will still be available. He will propose a constitutional amendment that gives a term limit to Congress. He will deploy the Department of Justice to investigate the Biden crime family and any of his adversaries or political rivals. He will immediately pardon all of the January 6thers, and he will create a task force to investigate anyone who arrested, charged, or imprisoned a January 6er. He will increase the penalties for underage criminal offenders, strengthen immunity for police officers, and deploy the National Guard to patrol woke cities. On day one, he will reassess our participation in NATO and says that every European country needs to pay the United States for protection.
Okay, now I'm thinking she's actually doing this on purpose. Just about everything she listed there, even with the added hyperbole, is hugely popular with much of the American people. And by the way, despite the misreporting you may have read, Trump forcing NATO partners to actually pay up strengthens NATO. That's a good thing. But let's go back to our woke TikToker.
He will kill all e-vehicles and e-vehicle legislation, seeking to replace that with the development of a flying car. He believes that we could create a car that vertically takes off.
Now that just sounds awesome. You've convinced me, ladies. Surely there's nothing else wonderful that you could tell me about a second Trump term.
He will remove all of the limits on American natural gas exports and drill baby drill for oil domestically. He will impose a tariff of up to 60% on Chinese imports. He will extend the 2017 tax cuts and drop the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15%.
Well, lady, don't threaten me with a good time. As a US citizen, if half that stuff happens, I think I'm going to be moving back.
And he will take billions and billions of dollars from private university endowments by taxing, fining, and suing the universities. He specifically names Harvard in this one. And then he will use that money to create the American Academy. It is a free online college that will be free of wokeness that he will force employers to recognize as a bachelor's degree equivalent. So that's Agenda 47.
Okay, this is how the Republicans can save millions in the lead up to the presidential election. Just play that young lass's clip over and over again. It's the best campaign ad I've seen.
So there you have it. Rennie, what do you think?
So, you know what? I'm all in favor of it. I love it. I hate the Buffalo Sabres hat, but I love the project.
Is that what that was?
Buffalo Sabres, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, you know, it brings us back to it brings conservatism back to where it was. Principles include fiscal responsibility, which he talked about but turned it differently, individual liberties, personal responsibilities, and promotes free enterprise, which our country was basically founded on. By adhering to these principles, which the left don't like, the project seeks to foster a society marked by opportunity, innovation, and prosperity for all. Primary objectives, of course, span various policies domains and include economic development, national security, healthcare, education, and social welfare. And this is something that just gets their panties up in a bunch and they can't handle. They don't want to let go of the grip they got on the power.
Mm-hmm. Nomad?
Well, you don't want to hear what I got to say. I remember
Yes,
running
we do.
here,
Yeah.
and I got to be family friendly. Okay, here's
No,
some
you
of
don't.
it.
You are raw
All right.
filter. This.
Oh, okay, here we come.
Stand by
Okay,
one. Stand by one. It's this program at this point is rated R. Take the children out of the room. Cover their eyes.
Let it fly.
Put a hat on the dog.
okay. The new demographic for a Democrat voter is someone who supports democratic type principles, but not in the old way, in the new way. You can now identify as a non-binary fucking pineapple, stay in school all your life, never work, get as much state or legal aid as you can, do anything that wasn't ever seen. If you had to work for something and now you don't want to work for something, if you want the same standard of free for all, freeloading, just vote Democrat, because every single demographic that came into our rainbow has basically become part of the Democratic Party's new demographic. They allowed the gender affirming situation, and whatever we want to call it. I'm trying to keep it clean here, but I tell you something right now. When the founding fathers founded this country, and when a guy with an accent and a guy became a US citizen, they had no idea we were going to have how many freaking genders. Number two, we never, ever should be influenced by such a small minority of any population. And on top of all that, the old Democrats that were there, the guys that were there, Kennedy's time, even when Reagan's era was there on the opposition side of it, they're no longer represented. You've got people who have the attention span of a freaking goldfish and who don't want to work and want as much shit as they can for free. As long as they get stuff for free, they'll keep coming. Now Trump is saying the gravy train's over. You must work, you must provide, you must do your stuff. And that's not going to sit well with people who can't make a decision between Dunkin' Donuts and Wawa, because that's the automatic decision they make in the day. After that, everything they have is spoon-fed. Democrats now are no longer part of the American core principles that this country was founded upon. And it's decision time for them. Let's see what happens in this election. Will Democrats still survive as they are today?
Yeah, definitely. There's two components to this. There's a President Trump section, which is Agenda 47, and there's Project 2025. They're two different things, two different ways of addressing the same issues. Now, the left has specifically attacked Project 2025, and they're calling us all of us now. Anybody, they're using, that's their vehicle to attack the rest of us that don't want to follow in line with their beliefs and their programs. So we have a quick video that's going to explain that, and then we'll continue on.
Have you heard about Project 2025? Hey, it's Dan Zimmerman and welcome back to Illustrate to Educate. In this video, we'll dive into everything you need to know about Project 2025, including 5 criticisms. Remember, if you disagree with Project 2025 or its criticisms, please don't dislike the video, but instead respectfully comment your thoughts below. Project 2025, led by the Heritage Foundation, is a comprehensive initiative designed to prepare for a potential conservative administration starting in January 2025. It is structured around 4 main pillars: policy development, personnel recruitment, training, and strategic planning for the early days of the new administration. Here's a more detailed breakdown of each component. First, let's look at the policy agenda. The Conservative Promise is a detailed policy guide that provides specific recommendations for governing major federal agencies. The guide encompasses conservative solutions to various issues, including economic policies, healthcare, education, and national security. It is intended to serve as a blueprint for the next conservative administration, ensuring that key conservative values and strategies are implemented effectively from the outset. The second pillar is the personnel database. Project 2025 includes a comprehensive personnel database aimed at identifying and vetting potential appointees for various positions within the federal government. This database seeks to ensure that a future conservative administration has a pool of qualified, ideologically aligned individuals ready to fill key roles. The recruitment efforts span across different sectors and backgrounds, targeting experienced professionals who can execute the administration's agenda efficiently. The third part is the training through the Presidential Administration Academy. To prepare the identified personnel for their roles, Project 2025 has established the Presidential Administration Academy. This academy offers a range of training programs including workshops, seminars, online courses, and mentorship from former administration officials. The training is designed to equip future administrators with the necessary skills and knowledge to implement conservative policies effectively. Fourth is the 180-day playbook. The 180-day playbook is a strategic document outlining the immediate actions to be taken by the new administration within the first 180 days. This playbook is crafted to enable swift policy reversals and the implementation of conservative priorities, ensuring a smooth and impactful start. It includes specific actions for various departments and agencies, focusing on undoing the policies of the previous administration and setting the stage for long-term conservative governance. Now let's talk about the coalition and organizational structure. Project 2025 is supported by a coalition of over 100 conservative organizations, including think tanks, advocacy groups, and academic institutions. This broad coalition brings together diverse expertise and resources to support the project's goals. Notable participants include former officials from the Trump administration who contribute their experience and insights to the project. There are specific policy focus areas in Project 2025. Project 2025 proposes significant changes to federal policies on reproductive health. These include removing references to abortion from federal laws and regulations, reversing the approval of abortion pills, and defunding clinics that provide abortion or contraception services. The initiative also aims to reinstate the Comstock Act to ban mail-order abortions and reshape Medicaid to avoid funding reproductive health care services that include abortion. Another focus area is cultural and social issues. The project emphasizes the restoration of traditional family values and religious principles. This includes opposing policies perceived as supporting cultural Marxism and promoting a pro-life agenda. It advocates for policies that support the nuclear family, religious liberty, and traditional gender roles. There's also the leadership of Project 2025, which is directed by Paul Dans, a former chief of staff at the Office of Personnel Management during the Trump administration, with Spencer Sherteen serving as associate director. Both bring extensive experience from their previous roles in government, contributing to the strategic planning and execution of the project. So what are the criticisms of Project 2025? Project 2025 has sparked significant criticism from various sources. Critics argue that the project embodies a comprehensive plan to centralize executive power, erode democratic norms, and enforce a far-right agenda on American governance and society. Let's take a look at 5 specific criticisms in more detail. First is the centralization of executive power. One major criticism is that Project 2025 seeks to expand presidential control over the federal bureaucracy. The plan includes reviving the Schedule F classification, which would allow the president to replace thousands of civil service employees with political appointees loyal to the administration. Critics argue this would undermine the nonpartisan nature of the civil service and politicize federal agencies, making them tools of the executive branch rather than independent entities. Second is the attack on democratic institutions. Critics highlight that Project 2025's blueprint includes proposals to dismantle or weaken key democratic institutions. This includes plans to defund the Department of Justice and dismantle the FBI and other agencies that could act as checks on presidential power. Such moves are seen as efforts to undermine the rule of law and enable the executive branch to operate with little oversight or accountability. Third, the project also faces criticism for its potential use of government power to target political opponents and critics. There are fears that it would enable the executive to pursue legal action against political adversaries and critical media outlets, drawing parallels to authoritarian regimes where dissent is suppressed through state mechanisms. The fourth criticism is the social and cultural agenda. Project 2025's policy agenda includes strong positions on social issues, promoting conservative values that critics argue could roll back rights and protections for various groups. The document outlines plans to restrict LGBTQ+ rights, enforce strict anti-abortion measures, and integrate Christian nationalist principles into government policy. This agenda has raised concerns about the erosion of civil liberties and the imposition of a particular religious and ideological framework on the entire nation. Lastly is the environmental and climate policy rollbacks. The project's stance on environmental regulations is contentious. It proposes significant rollbacks of climate policies, which critics argue would have detrimental effects on efforts to combat climate change and protect the environment. This aspect of the plan is seen as catering to business interests at the expense of long-term ecological sustainability. Did you find this video about Project 2025 to be helpful?
Okay, we're going to go to break here real quick, and when we come back, we're going to continue this discussion. And Nomad is going to fill us in with some information on the things he does while he's out there nomading in the world. So let's go on to break, and we'll be back.
Well, I've got spare parts from my last broken heart. somehow more than what I had to start. Yeah, I've got spare parts. I tried to fix it best I remembered it. I hope it runs when I fire it up, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be a perfect fit, 'cause I got spare parts. Took a piece of you, like lovers often do. I'll try to make it good as new, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare parts. What's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare.
And we're back. If you want to talk to us, give us a call, 508-974-4231. And Ann, thank you so much for joining us. As always, you are, without a doubt, our most loyal viewer. And I'm going to apologize in advance for what's going to happen next. Somehow, this is how my day is gone. I found a video about Lizzo weighing in on Project 2025. And I'm going to share it with you folks now. So if you want to call and yell at me, remember 508-974-4231.
This is the one with the pierced clitoris.
I have no idea. I forgot. It's call us.
Isn't that the one we get the call on last week, Lizzo?
It may be, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can email us, the ffnnetwork9@gmail.com. If you want to, I'm a big boy. I have my big boy pants on.
Hey, before we show the next video, I got to say, the last video that you played, that I rest my case. That puts to bed my argument about how this whole thing is going to go.
Yeah.
Everything that they're saying that they're afraid of in that video, they're doing to us now. They're doing to Trump now.
You are 100%
And they don't want to let it go.
Yep.
They're going to do anything that they can to retain this power.
These
Mark
people
my
are
words.
These people are a bunch of evil bastards, man.
We're in up to here. By the time November comes.
Yep. Well, let's see if Lizzo agrees with you.
The Supreme Court just ruled on, I think, 3 or 4 new laws that are really starting to put Project 2025 in motion. If you don't know what Project 2025 is, it is not a scare tactic. It is not a conspiracy. It is very real. And here are some of the guidelines. Unitary executive theory. Just read this. This would give the president complete and total power to pass any bill or law he wants. Donald Trump. They're going to build that wall. Also, they're going to fast track certain immigrants if they pay a certain price. They want the next president to stop the war on oil and natural gas. You know, the reason why we're at war anyways right now, they already got rid of Roe v. Wade, so they've already started this part, and they want to get rid of the abortion pill. And lastly, he wants to get rid of the Department of Education, so this will happen. So all those books that are getting banned, they're just going to keep on banning them. And all this was made possible because Trump appointed 3 young Supreme Court justices during his presidency, and we are seeing the effects of that.
That person influences our children.
She ought to stick to eating, okay? Something she knows something about. She doesn't know anything about anything else.
Man, that is some scary stuff. Nomad, do you want to jump on something here? Not Lizzo.
Okay. Yeah, she mentioned something that I did a bit of research on, the unified executive theory. Article 2 of the Constitution allows the President of the United States to exert executive branch and or power over the executive branch in certain circumstances. As Rennie has said, that's what Biden's been doing since he got in. Now the game is out, so now they're going to use the same playbook. If you want to defeat the Democrats, you do exactly to them, as Rennie said. You do to them what they do to us as citizens. Forget politics a second. Number 1, right? Mm-hmm. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Keep bringing it up. Know your enemy, be your enemy, defeat your enemy, right? Mm-hmm. So be exactly like them. It's a French saying. In English it is, you send a thief to catch a thief. That's what you do. So this is it. Second thing is, Article 2 is an interesting one. And the Founding Fathers had a lot of foresight in this. Because they didn't trust some of the new Americans that were there, because they figured out that there'd be British spies, English spies in the new America. So they wanted to make sure that this wasn't going to become a situation, 50 or 100 years later on. 1812 showed what happened, right? So there's a lot of substance to the thought that went into this thing. But she mentioned stuff in relation to stuff that's all the usual sound bites that Democrats spark off on. And every single issue that the Democrats have, we can defeat them already by using the Constitution. We don't need any extra laws. We need someone with a set of balls to say, this is enough. The Constitution says this, and this is what you shall do, because you work for me. That fat ass on that chair that is wearing a suit in either the Senate or Representatives is paid for by me and my taxes. Yeah. So you owe me, and I own your ass when I pay my taxes. So do your damn job.
Mm-hmm. That would be correct.
Like classic example, the House of Representatives tonight voted to pass the voting rights, an ID. You need an ID to vote. Pass the House, off to the Senate, where it's going to die. They ain't going to do anything. Because they want 21 million illegals to show up and vote.
Well, of course they do.
They can't win this thing fair and square.
You know what bothered me the most about all of this is that these people, I mean, they're entitled to their opinion without a shadow of a doubt. They're entitled to say their opinion, protected by the Constitution. I will die defending your right to say whatever the fuck you want to say.
Yes.
But what scares me though is these people, these representatives of their constituents, they believe this shit. They actually believe the things that they say. Deep down in their souls, these liberals think that what they're talking about is right. Well, it couldn't be farther from the truth. So what happens when you back a badger into a corner, right?
Yeah. He's going to fight his way out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where they are right now.
But what you've actually got is Democrats have exposed themselves in many ways, and historically they've shown it over the last 2 or 3 elections. The Obama was the ideal guy; he was the ideal dream. He was the poster child of everything that Democrats were looking to have. But here's the reality: it's not about color politics; It's about the color of the flag, red, white, and blue, behind me right here. And the bottom line is, when you have a society that hyphenates its population, you immediately divide that population. And then once you have it broken, that fragments down like a piece of broken glass. It goes down and down and down. Now, here's the thing. I spoke to a guy just this morning, and he's over in Nevada, and he's in law enforcement. And he said, you know how freaking frustrated I am? I can't do my damn job. His counterpart is a federal agent. And he said, we cannot arrest people anymore. Because if we do, our job is gone. Our union is not strong enough anymore because it's become politicized, because funding is where it's at. Control of the purse controls the direction. Personality overrides procedure and policy. So we already have a railway track established 200 plus years on how to manage stuff. Why is it now it's come to this? It's our own damn fault for letting this go on too long. Now it's time to fix it now. And we have an opportunity now. But the next election, gentlemen, in my opinion, is more important than this one. Because whatever doesn't happen this time round, we're running out of gas. We're running out of time.
Yeah.
And events outside of the US are going to influence how we manage our own country, which is not the way it's supposed to be.
Well, Rennie, we had that conversation about the fall of empires. You want to add on something to that?
Yeah, I mean, the fall of empires, that's, average life of free society is 200 years. We're 249. As soon as they can figure out, and this is why the Roman Empire fell. As soon as they figure out they can dip their hands into the treasury, take money, spend it the way they want, give it to who they want for their own personal gains, checkmate, game's over. But I want to make a point that Nomad just brought up. I had an incident at work last week, Friday night. I ain't going to go into details because I don't need to get my ass in a jam any further. But
more than it already is, yeah.
I took an action that was consistent with my training. And afterwards, I was chastised because of the perception of what I did.
The optics.
The optics didn't look good. You know what I'm saying? That's the way the world's going today. You know?
Yeah, it always
they don't care about whether I live or die. If I get killed at work, just that paycheck's gone. They're not going to fill the fucking opening,
Yeah.
But when they said to me, it's the optics of what you did, like, you're shitting me, right?
Right. Well, and the cops are the first ones to get thrown under the bus when everything goes wrong.
All the time.
It all started with a guy named James Crowley. You know who James Crowley is?
Creepy
He was the
Crowley?
sergeant in Cambridge that arrested
Yes.
Obama's law school
right.
professor
Yep.
that started the whole war on cops.
The
James
beer
Crowley.
summit. The beer summit. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
They acted stupidly.
Yep.
Fucking moron.
Yep.
They leave out the prosecutors and all that kind of stuff. They never identify where the problem, because cops are easiest to believe. We'll just blame the cops. It's their fault for not doing their jobs. Fucking idiots.
Well, just on that alone, I'm jumping in, guys. Going to Rennie, what he's saying here, right? One of the most powerful constitutional offices anybody can hold is that of a sheriff. And a sheriff is elected by the people, for the people, by the people. A judge equally the same. So she brought up on the Supreme Court three young.
Right.
I'm approaching. I should buy a house in Jurassic Park, God damn it, because I'm not young, but I tell you what, I'm not like these creatures out here right now. But here's what I'm saying. It's nothing different. But I can't go back to my point. Constitutional officer of a sheriff or a judge, the people, they represent the people, and they're absolutely sensitive to anything that people do. Anyone who works as a sheriff's office, as a deputy sheriff or anything, they know how politically charged that is, because a sheriff can decide how he'll recruit, what he'll do, and funding comes directly from the locality the county that he represents. Whereas you go to a police chief, he's appointed by a freaking city manager, unelected position. So the people have no actual input into who this creature is. He's told by a city manager, listen, you fit the criteria. So look at the places where we have crime. The police chiefs are political appointees. But God damn it, the unified executive theory that this individual who pronounces all her syllables, right, said, right,
Do it. No, do it.
I know. It'll blow up. It will blow up, right? And Blaze Man would say, "What is this guy saying?" Right? But it rhymes with truck, right? I'm just saying, these guys, we can dismantle them very easily. One, make them irrelevant. They're not important enough. I don't give a rat's ass about what your sensitivity is. I only go by what the Constitution says. So what you have, which, as you said, allows them to have their opinion. But constitutionally, we have laws on the books. Okay? Now, police chief versus a deputy sheriff. I still work within law enforcement. And I'm telling you this right now. People who work for sheriff's offices, depending upon where they are, they're happier now than working for guys who are working for a local PD. Because the politics of a PD is going to be, shit, if a Democrat-run city, I can't do anything because my career, my healthcare, my family, everyone depends on my damn job. Whereas a sheriff will more than likely be someone who will support the Constitution. Now, not every sheriff does, but most of them do. And down here in Florida, we have some fantastic sheriffs who've made national profiles. Mm-hmm. So the higher you go, the thinner the oxygen, right? So when it comes to the point of executive powers, the president has control of the executive branch. He is the executive branch, but there's checks and balances in it. So what are we afraid of doing our damn job for? Why are we afraid to speak? Like, I tell you something, I am unapologetic about my color, my accent, or my identity. I'm a naturalized U.S. citizen. I came into the front damn door, got shot and blown up for it to become one, and some creature coming in over the border is going to tell me, right, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, truck you and your sensitivities, because what's going to happen right now is it's come home to roost. You cannot have a free ride anymore, and people are tired of it. And what's going to happen is this, and I talked about something else later on, about the preparations, the actual preparations for civil disorder. They won't say civil distress or riots. If you're a supporter of BLM, it was a protest, it was peaceful. But if you go against what someone else is saying, if you're pro-Palestinian, it's a peaceful protest. But if you go and do something that is constitutionally centered and fair, you are then known as an HVE, a homegrown violent extremist. Mm-hmm. And we're being painted into a category and allowing ourselves into that category, which, here's the bottom line. The people who call us those things, they're the first people to seek free legal aid, food stamps, Section 8 housing, and any other freebie that's going. So when that's actually threatened, when your food stamps are threatened by an illegal immigrant, all of a sudden you become red, white, and blue, not pink, brown, yellow, and whatever else you are. So I will not, I am telling you right now, and every platform can hear me, I'm waiting for you to come and to ask me, who the hell am I? You will find out legally with my vote in the ballot box, but I am sure as hell not going to fund something that I do not agree with and is unconstitutional. Screw your sensitivity. It's time to stop this nonsense. I'm tired of it. Absolutely tired of it.
Unfortunately, we're surrounded by the nonsense. So, everybody, you guys know who Aaron Cohen is, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I trained with Aaron Cohen. All right, I got a certificate signed by Aaron Cohen, and like I try to explain to my boss who was doing the investigation on the incident, like when I go to work, I'm operating up here because of my training. The other boobs I work with are down here. You know, that's what I'm confronted with. And so I guess I've got to learn to bring myself down to their level.
No, I disagree, brother. I'm the same way. I have to leave my brain in the glove box when I go into work.
I'm waiting for another job now, but I get one foot in the door and one foot out, you know. I'd love to stay up here, but I know that they don't like it, you know.
Well, there you have it. All right, we've got about 10 minutes left. Nomad, do you want to impart your wisdom about stuff
Yeah,
you've
I
learned
want
over the
to hear
last few
Nomad's
days.
wisdom. I look forward to this.
Okay. I have something here. Okay, I'm working within a law enforcement agency, which I will keep off the books, and I'm connected to some other stuff, which is, it's a whole cobweb of other BS. But long story short, I'm a nobody. I'm just a link in the chain. But I have some access to some people who matter and who make some decisions on things. They're not just the guys who implement the policy, they write the policy for this thing, right? They're so sensitive right now that every federal agency should be buying in bulk Preparation H because it's coming. Okay,
Wow.
they're afraid of their damn life here. There's direct, and I'm waiting for the knock on the door right now. So here we go. Not saying anything in this. Here we go. I'm telling you this right now. Every federal agency has a contingency for what's coming up in 24. For foreign intervention in our election process. Go back to the midterms in 22. They already had a thing. Mayorkas, and he's got an AI chief which deals with cyber threats and other stuff. Very, very, very important. Forget the personalities. Think of the program. But there is a dedicated effort amongst law enforcement for a fusion of efforts to safeguard the election, because what's at stake is not necessarily the Constitution. Federal agencies don't give a shit about the Constitution. They consider about their benefits. They consider about them. The typical employee in a federal agency is primarily like a bed bug. After a while, he'll get in somewhere, he'll stay there, and his ass fits the position in the chair. But there's a marked difference between holding a position and being in a position. Being in a position where you actually have to take action, and we swear an oath to the Constitution and we do what we got to do. And then afterwards, they can take as long as they want to chastise us, like Rennie is aware of, right? Number two, there is now, for the first time, areas around the country where they will collectively coordinate. And the blanket of it is probably going to be through FEMA, because Federal Emergency Management Agency is primarily not necessarily law enforcement, but it has law enforcement powers. Mm-hmm. So what's an emergency? It's anything out of the ordinary. So if you have a federal out of the ordinary situation, therefore FEMA can step in. The three most powerful agencies in this country that civilians have no real idea about how powerful they are is Health and Human Services, mm-hmm. FEMA, and IRS. Health and Human Services have everybody's data biographically, right? The genetic markers, everything about you by way of health, right? So HIPAA doesn't matter a damn when you're a national security risk. Number two, right. FEMA manages the funds and it directs resources. Department of Justice, right? ATF came from IRS. It did not come from DOJ.
Right.
ATF came from the fucking tax system. Mm-hmm. So we can defund anything we want by primarily changing tax code and tax law. And Trump is brilliant at finding loopholes. He is like a guy with 9 lives. There's some stuff I don't agree with, but I tell you one thing about him. He gave money to both sides of the aisle, so he knows everybody's secrets. Mm-hmm. But the guys who are the real power are the deep state end of it, which is true, but not as people say. But what I'm coming to is this. Watch what appears on the streets if there's protests between now and, say, September, October, before November itself. You will see uniforms you've never seen before. You will see
that's interesting.
Stuff coming up without just a marker. It'll have police. What's police? Who are you? I don't answer questions. So that's the scary point of it. We have a lot of demilitarized equipment that is now in the hands of law enforcement, which it has to have because we resupply and we recycle equipment. That's nothing new. It's not conspiracy. But when your threat level on a domestic level, when you got to go in with a rhino worth $250,000 to serve a warrant on a douchebag who didn't make a court appearance and the marshals are looking for him, the level of risk to local law enforcement right now is that the public have no idea how brave these people are going in, working for $24 to $30 an hour when you get $22 an hour in fucking Walmart or Best Buy. Mm-hmm. So you only want law enforcement, you only support law enforcement when you actually need them. This is the time to back the blue and back the red, white, and blue, because guess what? That blue is in that flag behind me right now. On my uniform, I have 2 flags, my state's flag and the U.S. flag. That means there's 2 constitutions covering what I got to do. two sets of parameters I have to be aware of, two sets of rules of engagement should I have to have a direct action on something. But the people who are talking about this right now, they've never made a decision in their damn life, and they're about to face the reality, the fact, get off your fucking ass, get a job, go out and work like the rest of us, because the days of you getting stuff for free are gone. Getting your stuff, because guess what? Happy Jose and Juanita have come in now 11 million times, and the money to fund your lifestyle while you sat your ass on Social Security is gone. The money's gone, which means Biden knows the money's gone, which means his voting bloc is gone. So he's gonna replace what he used to have traditionally, which is the color politics, with the new color politics, which is illegal immigrant. On my shirt it says, "Make our guns illegal, we'll just call them undocumented." Well, I tell you something. Every single thing that I have done is documented. Everything that you do is documented. Follow the money, and then last, let's say this, and forgive me, Blazeman, I'm going on too long. Take the play from these guys, and the last example being the pro-Palestinian things. They're on about divesting. Divest from anything that is supportive of woke, liberal, or Democrat politics. Don't buy Ben and Jerry's. Don't buy fucking Starbucks. Don't go into these places, because each of these guys funds the machine that's taking our Constitution away from us. Hit them in the pocket, and they might take some notice. But people are too damn stupid to realize that they're being used here too much. This is going to be an exciting year, but I tell you, people are going to be shocked when they see the federal response to anything that goes on. BLM was left to do what it wants, Antifa do what it wants, but if you're born and bred an American or naturalized like me, and you protest, when the U.S. flag is not respected anymore, we need to stop what's going on peacefully and legitimately. I'm not in favor of violence, but I tell you what, there's no one going to take that flag from me, because I fought so damn hard to get it and to become one. And I'm grateful to this country for the job, for the opportunity.
Yep. You got any closing comments, Rennie?
I agree with everything my brother said. Like I said, I'm in the boat. I can't seem to do anything right, So,
you've been spotlighted. Well,
I've been spotlighted. I got my second final warning at work. Like I said, I got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. But
you're in good company, buddy. Believe me, you're in good company. You're in good company.
No shit. All right, folks. Well, it's been an interesting show. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for my brain feels much better now. So thank you for the brain enema. Spending an hour with you guys is always good, and works wonders for my state of mind. We're going to do, next week is the RNC convention. So we're going to do some special episode on
I told Blazeman would stand in Tuesday night for the convention. Yeah.
Just on that. I will. Absolutely will be. The timing of some of this stuff right now, isn't it just coincidental? What date is today? It's the 7th, all right? It's the 10th of July. This is no accident. This shit's coming out, right? They know exactly what they're doing. Watch their news in the next 2 days. Anti-Trump, RNC, they're allowing us to be put into a box. Do not do it. Do not do it.
Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt. So we will be doing that next week then, in addition to our regular shows. So join us for the Xenophiles on Friday. That's going to be pretty interesting stuff, I think, on that one. We have an assortment of things for that show. I think we're going to do, let's see, Dulce Base. We're going to do moon missions, I believe. And then Nomad, you had something on the dark side of the moon and whatever the fuck is going on back up there.
Yeah. There's something about that's interesting. That stuff. It's not space age stuff. It's
it's just interesting. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be covering that Friday. So if you like what you see tonight with us here, join us again Friday. Join us next week on Tuesday for the convention special, and we'll be doing our usual episode of on Wednesday. So having said that, we're getting ready to close out. I want to thank all you folks for joining us. Our audiences are wonderful. Thanks for our sponsors, i12 GIA, Peace of Mind Training. And for the folks that provided video content for tonight, we want to give you guys a little pat on the back too, and acknowledge your content. We'll have we'll listed that someplace in there. We're on a whole bunch of different platforms, FFN Network. So like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. You know how to do that. And I think on that happy note, we are done. So I'm going to say good night, folks.
Have a good night, brothers.
Take care, sir.
All
God
right,
bless
guys.
America. God bless
Yeah.
America.
God bless the U.S.
You have just watched an FFN Network production.